An abundance of new specialty releases will roll into theaters and on demand this weekend, including newcomers with Hollywood A-listers such as Sony Pictures Classics drama The Seagull, based on the Chekhov play and starring Annette, Saoirse Ronan and Elizabeth Moss. Olivia Holt, Skylar Gasanda, Kristen Chenoweth and Bruce Dern star in Cinedime Entertainment's comedy romance Class Rank, making a day-and-date bout this weekend. While a cross-section of documentaries will open, hoping to tap some of the momentum of last weekend's successful launch of non-fiction title RBG. Good Deed Entertainment is opening Always at the Carlisle by Matthew Mealy with a cast of stars effusing about the legendary Upper East Side New York hotel. Sarah Driver's Boom for Real, the late teenage years of Jean-Michel Basquiat out about the late artist's pre-fame years in a now lost downtown Manhattan begins its run via Magnolia Pictures, which opened RBG. And Willem Dafoe narrates Greenwich Entertainment's Mountain, which has an exclusive run in New York starting Friday. Related, The Seagull, Review, Annette Bening. Other limited releases this weekend include Neon's action thriller Revenge by Coralie Fargett, and Paladin drama romance Anything by Timothy McNeil. The Seagull director, Michael Mayer writers, Stephen Karam, Anton Chekhov play, cast, Annette Bening, Saoirse Ronan, Corey Stoll, Elizabeth Moss, Mare Winningham, John Tenney, Glenn Fleshler, Michael Zagan, Billy Howell, Brian Dennehy distributor, Sony Pictures Classics. Veteran theater producer Leslie Erdang was approached by colleagues Tom Hulse and Michael Mayer for advice in 2015 about doing a big-screen version of the play The Seagull by Russian dramatist Anton Chekhov. The request for input turned into full participation. Tom had played the role of Constantine in The Seagull twice as a young actor, said Erdang. Later, Tom asked me if I'd be interested in partnering with them. I'm attracted to labors of love and material that never fails you and attracts talent that absolutely wants to tell a story. It's not necessarily about the money but the labor of love. The Seagull is set during summer at a lakeside Russian estate, where friends and family gather for a weekend in the countryside. While everyone is caught up in passionately loving someone who loves somebody else, a story unfolds about art, fame, parents, children and human folly. The producers had approached Annette Bening early on about playing Irina and she accepted. In the meantime, they also raised fund, which came via a combination of several investors that worked in the theater as well as a larger group making smaller investments. It was person by person and meeting by meeting raising money, explained Erdang. We also had an international seller and equity investors. Erdang had worked with Saoirse Ronan on a small project previously and tapped her to join the film early in the process. Elizabeth Moss came on after Erdang had suggested her to Tom Hulse, who had been in the process of auditioning a number of actors. The Seagull shot in summer 2015 over 21 days in Monroe, New York, about 45 minutes north of the city. A production designer remembered a summer camp she went to that was built by Russian industrialists, said Erdang. We were incredibly lucky to find almost all of our locations in one place. Stephen Karam made some script adjustments based on the actual locations. And, since we had to spend less money on transportation, we had more money to spend on period clothing etc. Post-production took a while. Michael Mayer had to turn his attention to other projects, while composer Nico Muhly was finishing an opera. Erdang showed SPC co-president Michael Barker an early version of the feature, who gave some notes, which Erdang said proved helpful. We addressed those notes in the final edit, she said. We give real kudos to him for helping us. We, later, showed the film to a handful of distributors in private screenings, but Sony Classics was where we really wanted to go. SPC picked up the title in 2017, but the company had another Annette Bening project, Film Stars Don't Die in Liverpool, which opened in late December, so the plan was to hold off on The Seagull's release until the spring. Sony Classics will open The Seagull at the Paris and Angelica theaters in New York as well as the Landmark and AMC Hollywood in Los Angeles Friday. It will then move to other select cities the following week including Washington, D.C., San Francisco before additional cities in the coming weeks. Class Rank director, Eric Stoltz writer, Benjamin August cast, Olivia Holt, Skylar Gasanda, Kristen Chenoweth, Bruce Dern distributor, Cinedime Entertainment filmmaker Eric Stoltz boarded Class Rank as director early on when producer Sandy Stern called him out of the blue, he said, and sent him the script. Stoltz said that he quickly connected with the material. I loved all the characters, the smart caring kids and the wizened but flawed adults, he explained. It made me laugh out loud, and I knew I'd enjoy spending a great deal of time with them. The quirky teen comedy centers on placement, politics, and finding your voice. The only thing holding Veronica Holt back from her dream of attending Yale is her number 2 high school class ranking. So when she devises a plan to elect fellow teen Bernard Gasonda to the local school board and abolish the ranking system, their unorthodox efforts inspire everyone around them to see life and love in a whole new light. No cast had been attached by the time Stoltz joined the project. He said that at one point an entirely different cast had been slated, but then it fell apart. Ultimately, Olivia Holt, Skylar Gasonda, Kristen Chenoweth and Bruce Dern were cast. Financing came together via producer Sean Sanghani, who brought on investors from Louisiana, where the title was shot. Class Rank filmed over about 20 days in Alexandria, Louisiana. Thankfully, it looks a great deal like New Jersey in some areas, noted Stoltz. Because Mr. Sanghani was from Alexandria, they really opened their arms to us, the gorgeous high school we shot in gave us free rein, students as extras, and it looked like $1 million bucks. The party scene, however, wasn't our Mr. Sanghani's parents' house, which is always a tricky proposition as you certainly don't want to damage your boss's home. Cinedigm announced it had picked up North American rights to the feature in February. Class Rank will open day and date Friday theatrically in 14 locations including Los Angeles, Chicago, Miami and Seattle, as well as in Alexandria, Louisiana. It will also be available via digital platforms including iTunes, Amazon and Fandango now. Always at the Carlisle director, Matthew Mealy subjects, George Clooney, Sofia Coppola, Tommy Lee Jones, Jeff Goldblum, Angelica Houston, Wes Anderson, Lenny Kravitz, Naomi Campbell, John Hamm, Anthony Bourdain, Elaine Stritch, Farrah Wong. Distributor, Good Deed Entertainment. Distributor Good Deed Entertainment had an early look at director Matthew Mealy's documentary Always at the Carlisle last fall. The company was attracted to the mix of A-list talent who stayed at the Upper East Side Hotel as well as its staff. It's not hard to be drawn in by the way the cast and Carlisle staff offer a glimpse into what's made the property so iconic and so beloved by some of the most powerful, creative, and influential figures of our times, commented Kristen Harris, VP, Acquisitions and Distribution at Good Deed. The film offers a sort of beautiful nostalgia while also being a sort of love letter to New York City itself. The official synopsis states, while the walls at the Carlisle don't talk, they definitely whisper. In the works for over 3 years, Always at the Carlisle brings to life the untold stories of this legendary hotel in New York, as heard from the mouths of its own employees and top clientele including George Clooney, Angelica Houston, Tommy Lee Jones, Farrah Wong, Elaine Stritch and more. We wanted to release on the heels of last weekend's Met Gala, said Harris. As you'll see in the film, the Carlisle hosts many of the gala guests and we saw this as a way to continue the excitement of the annual event, which we hope will translate into box office success. The company is expecting to lure a sophisticated, older, female audience, while also tapping a younger generation including fans of pop culture. Added Harris, for opening weekend, Matthew Mealy will be hosting guests for live Q of his popular podcasts Last Night at the Carlisle, at the Quad Theater. We'll also be giving film-goers an opportunity, during opening weekend, to enter at the theater to win an evening on the town at the Carlisle, including dinner and a show at Café Carol and a night's stay at the hotel. It's a great opportunity to learn about the heart behind the Carlisle property, and then experience it firsthand for yourself. Following its exclusive showing at the Quad in New York this weekend, Always at the Carlisle will head to LA and a few additional markets next week. A national expansion is planned for May 25th. Boom for Real, the late teenage years of Jean-Michel Basquiat. Director, Sarah Driver. Subjects, Jean-Michel Basquiat, Fab Five. Freddie, Lee. George Quinones, Jim Jarmusch, Kenny Sharp, Luke Sante, James Nares, Patricia Field, Alexis Adler, Michael Hallman. Distributor, Magnolia Pictures. The origins of Doc Boom for Real, the late teenage years of Jean-Michel Basquiat came out of the aftermath of Hurricane Sandy. Producer Rachel Denkas's friend Sarah Driver called her up saying she had seen a remarkable archive, in her words, at her friend Alexis Adler's apartment. The collection had been rescued from a flood zone. She was so excited about what she had seen that I encouraged her to buy a camera and start filming, noted Denzig. I organized a very small crew as we had no money or financing, and we just started shooting and interviewing a small group of people who were friends with Jean-Michel and familiar with what was happening in the New York City art scene at that time. Boom for Real follows artist Jean-Michel Basquiat's life pre-fame and how New York City, the times, the people and the movements surrounding him formed the artist he became. Using never-before-seen works, writings and photographs, director Sarah Driver, who was part of the New York art scene herself, worked closely with friends and other artists who emerged from that period. Drawing from their memories and anecdotes, the film also uses period film footage, music and images to visually recreate the era, drawing a portrait of Basquiat in downtown New York City, pre-AIDS, President Reagan, the real estate and art booms, before anyone was motivated by money and ambition. The definition of fame, success and power were very different than today. To be a penniless but published poet was the height of success, until everything changed in the early 1980s. This is New York City before that change. Sarah was friends with Michael Hallman, who had amazing footage of Jean-Michel Basquiat from a short experimental film he shot and directed called Pesciador, explained Denzig. Glenn O'Brien was also a friend of Sarah's and he allowed us to use footage from his film Downtown 81, which he wrote and co-produced and was directed by Ed Obertoglio. Glenn's associate Maripol, who also produced Downtown 81, helped expedite the footage to us. Glenn also allowed us to use footage of Jean-Michel from his public access television cable show, TV Party. Denzig added that the feature's financing was extremely low, but added, getting the financing together was hard and took many years. Luckily the film was made by an extremely small and intimate group of people, a labor of love for all involved who continue to be dedicated and see the film through. Magnolia Pictures picked up Boom for Real post-Toronto 17, where it had its world premiere. The title will bow in New York at IFC Center as well as the New Art in LA. The following week it will head to 6 additional markets with further expansion in select cities planned from there. Director, Jennifer Petum. Narrator, Willem Dafoe. Distributor, Greenwich Entertainment. Willem Dafoe takes on narration duties in Greenwich Entertainment. Doc Mountain, sampled from British mountaineer Robert Macfarlane's memoir, Mountains of the Mind. The company saw the documentary via sales agency Submarine last fall. Greenwich Entertainment said it saw its theatrical possibilities. It reminded us of an extreme alpine sports version of an experiential non-narrative film like Baraka. Greenwich's Ed Aarons also said that his positive experience with the release of Elizabeth Chivasar Hellel and Jimmy Chin's 2015 mountaineering doc Mayrule Music Box Films, which grossed over $2.3 million at the box office, also influenced the company's involvement with mountain. Only 3 centuries ago, setting out to climb a mountain would have been considered close to lunacy. Mountains were places of peril, not beauty, an upper world to be shunned, not sought out. With drones, GoPros and helicopters, and from Tibet to Australia and Alaska to Norway, the film has fashioned a symphony of mountaineers, ice climbers, free soloists, heli skiers, snowboarders, wingsuiters and parachuting mountain bikers. The core audience is the cross-section of documentary film goers and those with inclinations for adventure like travelers and hikers, climbers, skiers, said Aarons. The marketing focus is purely social media. The company said it wanted to target a non-winter window in order to tap skiers missing the mountains and hikers contemplating their summer adventures. Mountain is opening in New York with an exclusive run, followed by in LA by May 25th in 2 locations. Starting June 1st, Greenwich will move Mountain into 25 markets heading into summer.